It's been a long time since I made one of these videos. In fact, I've never uploaded one of these to this channel. If you're not familiar with my old channel, it's called Disgruntled Danny, and there are hundreds of badly made videos on it. But today, we delve into the world of catfishing and online scams where people are posing to be people they are not. Typically, these scams are easy to spot because if I, a middle-aged man, get a friend request on Facebook from an attractive young woman with one profile picture and no mutual friends, who has the opening gambit that she's willing to jump on a plane and fly halfway around the world to have a bounce up and down on my love truncheon, well, that's suspicious. These scams typically take one of two forms. A very short scam, which will be a message with a link to a website, and if the mark follows that link, at best they'll get malware uploaded to their device. At worst, it'll end up in blackmail or seizure of assets, and I don't mean down there. Or the long game where the con artist or con artists, usually from Nigeria, will attempt to engage in conversation. And when that happens, I engage them back. It used to be that the English was so fucking appalling, you could spot it from a mile off. But recently, with advances in AI and translator apps, the English has got marginally better. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Meet Local Girls Reloaded. The title, Meet Local Girls, refers to clickbait in the early 2000s, when one would go onto websites and there would be a link that said meet local girls or hot girls in your area. However, the pictures of said girls or women were always porn stars from the 1990s, trust me, I know. And if that wasn't enough of a giveaway, I remember going on holiday and the pictures were of the same women, so either that was a con or I had some extremely dedicated stalkers. So we'll kick off with a few of the short game cons, a few words of text and then links to websites sent via Instagram. Starting off with M. Whitbeck, I can't read my own writing. Hi, have you seen my beautiful friend Sylvia Hot Mom? She's a really hot MILF, would love to take care of you in different and sensual ways. If you are a gentleman, she will give you a hot sex fuck. Next up, some lass called Samita, or rather a Nigerian man pretending to be some lass. Hello, Mr. Daniel. Always a good start when they don't understand which is my first name and my surname. Do you like Desi girls? I think Desi means Indian, and yes, any hole's a goal. I have a supply of, so great, human trafficking. Hot Indian girls, I was right. To come and making you erotic needs at your New York apartment. My New York apartment. Apparently I'm lost. Next up, A. Grigoli messaged me about her friend. Hello, pretty man. Pretty isn't a word you usually apply to a man. Calling a man pretty is a precursor to a fight. I want you to meet my friend Tanya. She is a hot girl with breasts, a vagina and an anus. In 2025, that's good to know. Do you enjoy your dick getting sucked? So does she. She likes her dick getting sucked. Now I'm confused. So that's a few short messages. Now we'll go on to full-blown conversations. The first came from someone calling themselves Magdalene Rose, and they messaged me on Facebook. There was a bit of, hello, how are you, where are you from? And she asked me to send her a photo. So I sent her a photo of me with the American guitar player Nita Strauss, remember that. She then sent me this photo, to which I said, you look stunning. She said, thank you, baby, are you down to fuck? So I replied, yes, sweetheart. She then said, I do charge, and sent me a price list. At this point, I got nervous because I was thinking, have I inadvertently got chatting with a lady of the night plying her trade? However, shortly it became clear this was a con artist, because she said, whereabouts in the UK are you living? Again, that isn't quite right. I said, the Midlands. She said, no way, baby, me too. Whereabouts? Please send me your postcode so I know how far away you are. So I sent a random postcode from Stafford, where crucially, I don't live, and bugger me backwards, she lived 2 streets away. But still I was confused because don't prostitutes or sex workers usually work cash in hand, or rather cash to rent their hand. How would this work with a con artist? But then it became clear, because Rose sent a message saying, if you're wanting to feel better, it is half now and half in person. You can send me the money. I do this because of personal security, because of past experience with things like rape and national security. National security. If I bang this hooker, fucking MI5 are getting involved. I had similar conversations with this woman, Maureen, who spells Maureen in a way I've never seen before. The difference being this time I said I lived in Manchester, and fuck me, she lived there too. But now we'll move it up a gear, because I've been chatting with celebrities, including a woman I mentioned earlier, the American guitar player for the Alice Cooper band, Nita Strauss, of whom I am a massive fan. I was contacted by Nita Strauss Business Chat. It went like this. Hi there, I see you are a fan of mine. I love my fans and like to talk to them in this private conversation for my VVIPs. How are you today? Where are you? So there was a bit of back and forth for a couple of days, which I won't bore you with. Mainly me establishing that this wasn't Nita Strauss because, first of all, Nita speaks English fluently. And secondly, because I was asking questions about music which were either completely avoided or answered incorrectly. Nita Strauss is signed to Ibanez Guitars, so I kept talking about Gibson and Fender. But then things got a bit weird. As Nita said, this. Dear fan, Daniel, you are such a fan, I would like to give you this gift. Would you like this car? And here is the car. A 1998 white Toyota pickup truck, which is left-hand drive. So, in this country, the steering wheel's on the wrong side. And a Toyota pickup truck. Unless I've accidentally joined the fucking Taliban, I can't see why I'd need one. I thanked Nita for her kind offer because obviously I want to look like an active jihadi, and she said all I needed to do was to send her the shipping money. At which point I blocked the account and reported it to Facebook. Less than a week later, I was contacted by another famous female guitarist, British-born Sophie Lloyd. So here is the opening message from apparently Sophie Lloyd. Hello dear fan, I know you are a dear fan and you dearly love me because we are dear together. Maybe we are entwined between the stars. I feel connected to you in a way I feel connected to no one else because you are dear to me and we are dear to each other and I'm glad to know you. That's an AI that's gone berserk. So there was a bit more back and forth with me asking questions about music which were either completely wrong or avoided. For example, I said, Sophie, I'm listening to your album Controlled Chaos, which is actually by Nita Strauss. Then things went a bit weird, because I said, does your husband mind me talking to you? My dearest darling, he is no longer my husband. We were married, we are no longer. I am now single and not married, but my husband, see him you will in my photos because he is now part of my management. However, he cannot come between us. We are entwined together. Once again, the universe has spoken, my dear Christopher. Who the fuck is Christopher? Anyway, I blocked and reported that account after Sophie said, quote, send me $700, my darling, to fly to you so we can have hot sex fucking times whilst you watch with my brother. No, that's not happening. Around 2 months went by before another celebrity contacted me. And blow me down with a feather, once again it was Nita Strauss. The woman is obsessed with me. So I went straight in with, hi Nita, great to talk to you again. I've met you a couple of times. To which Nita replied, oh yes, Daniel, I remember all the times we've met, our warm conversations and walks and coffees together. I've met her twice at guitar workshops. Again, there was a bit of back and forth, but this version of Nita was far more full on. She said, I quote, my darling, of late my vagina has been very dry. Of late, apparently Nita Strauss is now Virginia Woolf. My vagina has been very dry, but now my ass has become wet. Love, you're not turned on, you've got diarrhea. Some more back and forth, but then Nita upped the sexual tension with a series of photographs, and bear in mind, These all took place within around 5 minutes. So first up, she's in the shower. Then, she's in the bath. Then, and bear in mind at no point do we see her face, she's dried off. Then, she's back in the bath, but it's a different bath. Then she's put her pyjamas on. That woman takes hygiene very fucking seriously. So I said, Nita, you look stunning. Although, if that was Nita Strauss, her tattoo has mysteriously fell off. To which she sent this image, with the wording, darling, I need to be in your bed. I'm coming to you now so that tomorrow over breakfast you can ejaculate in my coffee. I'm not going to kink shame. However, one small issue. Throughout the entire conversation, Nita had never asked where I live. I guess I can pick her up in the Toyota pickup truck. So, although the English isn't as bad as it used to be, the scammers are still out there, and they must be doing something right because people must be falling for it. Anyway, that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, please do like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you could leave a like or a comment, that really helps the algorithm. If you could share this video, I'd be eternally grateful. If you'd like to support me in making these videos, there's a link in the description to buy me a coffee or join my Patreon. And as ever, thanks for watching. It's been a long time since I've recorded one of these videos. There are several over on my old channel. If you're not familiar with it, it's called Disgruntled Danny, and on there are... A few of you may have spotted that I have a thing for guitar girlies. It's not just guitar girlies, it's female musicians. I'm hugely... I admire women with a talent. Not just guitar. Tina Guo, who plays cello, she's hot as fuck. And Dua Lipa. Although, interestingly, given this video is about con artists, I actually have Dua Lipa's phone number. Quick aside, a few years ago, the wife and I were at Download, and the American rock band Hailstorm came on, fronted by Lizzie Hale. And the first thing she said was, "What do you guys want to do?" And I shouted, "I want to fuck you, Lizzie!" To which Mrs. Disgruntled looked up at me and went, "Oh, you like her, do you?" That was an uncomfortable hour.